up, YouTube? Today we are working on the Harley-Davidson. Just gonna point out some quickies. Obviously, the front wheel is the easiest. The back wheel is a little more pain in the butt just because you're dealing with a little bit more spacers and you're dealing with the brake caliper. Obviously, I told you guys, take the brake caliper off. That way it's a lot easier and you're not damaging anything. And then before I put the caliper back on, what I do is I put a little tape on the wheel and just make sure it clears without any scratching issues or anything on the beautiful wheel. I got almost everything lined up. The back is, like I said, the back is the hardest part. Once you get the back done, the front's easy. Everything comes together super easy. So one of the things is getting the spacers to line up correctly. Which could be a little pain in the butt because you're dealing with one space, technically two spacers, because you're dealing with the rear brake caliper bracket and the spacer. And then on the other side, you got two spacers, one that's custom by SMT, which you guys can see, and then you use one of your stock ones. So just getting everything to fit. What helps is having a center jack to lift it all the way up, and then having another jack to be able to set the wheel where you need it, which makes it a lot easier. So if you're by yourself, I recommend getting a scissor jack and getting a floor jack for the motorcycles too, because that way it makes it a lot easier. Obviously, what you're gonna have to do on this side is take off the 2 1/2-inch bolts that are on the exhaust, so that way you have a little wiggle room to slide the axle through. One of the key things is make sure to clean the axle really good and re-grease every time you take it on and off. Always clean and re-grease, guys. And then that's pretty much it, guys. And then what I do is to get the back end lined up too. Usually what I'll do is I'll take a marker and just mark right there where it sits on the swing arm, so that way you got a really close idea of where you want it. Obvious, due to the air ride, you want play in your belt. You don't want too much play because it'll be a problem, and then you don't want it too tight because that's how you break belts. So what you do for air ride, set it up where you're gonna be able to where you ride 99% of the time, the height that you ride at, and that's how you tighten the belt to your specs, to the factory specs. So that way, don't ever drive the bike unless you're on lean, but don't ever hammer it or anything. Something happened and you had to drive the bike on the air ride completely down. Don't get on it, because that means the belt's gonna be super loose. And then if you raise it, it's gonna tighten the belt. So just keep that in mind. So just put it in a good, easy thing to remember. Get it at the right height, check the belt where you want it to be. So like I said, before I take anything apart, I check the belt, make sure it's nice and tight in all the areas where it needs to be with play. And then I'll mark it on the swing arm on both sides, so that way when you put everything together, everything should be nice and where it was when you took it off. But always double check, triple check, making sure that you have no issues, and that way you'll be ready to go. But like I said, always remember, guys, anytime you're dealing with axles and anything, always clean them off. Make sure there's no corrosion or anything that could cause it to have a problem going in and out. And then re-grease. I repeat, re-grease your axles every time you take them on and off, so that the next time you're in there, you're not going to have a problem taking it off or putting them back on, because it'll still be nice and smooth and it's going to operate the way it should. So keep that in mind, guys. So we almost got the rear wheel on. I just got to move some stuff around to get the axle start going through, and then we'll leave off with doing the front. So I'll see you guys in a minute. All right, guys, we got the wheel on, got the axle on. Just one note, that when you are putting the axle, you have to turn it around, make sure it clears the exhaust and clears your top part right here. So what you might have to do is take these two off, like I said, and just kind of push down a little bit. Don't force it, just push down a little bit, and just make sure when this is clearing the axle, you're just spinning it around so it clears this first, and then your exhaust. Once that's done, push right through. It slides right in with all new grease. Slides right in. Don't force it. Don't hit it with the hammer. Just let it slowly guide in, because like I said, you don't want to damage the thread on your axle, and you don't want to damage any of the spacers. So like I said, once that is all in, you're pretty much done. Start, you know, torquing everything to Harley specs per bike. Whatever bike you're working on, check the specs to see how tightened. You over tighten the rear axle, you might have a problem. If the spacer's not correct, it will damage the bearings, and that could be a really bad problem. It could be life-threatening. So always remember, torque the axle to Harley specs. If you're working on a Harley, or if you're working on a Japanese bike, or Italian, make sure you go by their specs. Because like I said, guys, if you do not, and the wheel spacer is not correct, you will smash the bearings, and they will sooner or later give out, and that will be a huge problem with your life, or with your passenger life, and your bike going down. So always check your specs to make sure everything is correct and everything is spec'd out to the manufacturer's specs. Like I said, you over torque things, you will have issues. On Harleys, always make sure you Loctite things, because Harleys are known to loosen bolts because of the vibration. So always make sure that you Loctite things to make sure that you don't have any bolts falling off or coming off or undone that could lead to other issues down the road or even your life. So always remember that, guys. Be prepared. Every time you get on a motorcycle, always check your tire pressures. Always do maintenance stuff before you get on your bike, guys. So let me finish up the back, and then we'll start working on the front. All right, guys, we've got the axle tightened. Obviously, you guys can see the marks that I put on there to line up on both sides of where the ride height you want it to be. Right there. Torque down to Harley specs. And then obviously don't forget the clip. Put the clip back in, tighten everything, and triple check everything, guys. You do not want to get on the road and something fall off. So yeah, guys, triple check everything. And since you're here, might as well just clean everything. You know, how often do you take the bags off and clean everything? I clean the wheel, clean the inside of the swing arm, you know, get everything nice and clean. And a good time to check your brake pads and make sure your brake pads are good. You know, there's two things on a motorcycle that is very life and death, and that is your brake pads and your tires. If you're not checking these, guys, this could be either life or death for anyone riding on two wheels. These two things are the most important things on a motorcycle to keep you safe and alive. So always please check your brake pads, and always, if they need to get replaced, replace them, because you're here anyways. And like I said, guys, always before you get on your motorcycle, double check your tire pressure to making sure that every time you're out riding, you're not going to lose. Obviously, we're in cold, we're heat, warm. The weather's always changing, so always please double check your tire pressure every time you get on a motorcycle, and then always check your brake pads. Another thing is, do not go on the motorcycle before you do this, guys. Obviously, you got the wheel up, spin it around, make sure everything's nice and good, there's nothing rubbing, anything like that. But when you do sometimes take out the brake caliper, guys, you do spread the pads up sometimes. Which meaning, if you don't pump your brakes before you ride, I repeat, pump your brakes before you ride if you do anything on taking your calipers off. Because if you don't, you have a chance of, if you need your brakes at a certain time, you will not have them right away. So always, repeat, always pump your brakes before you do anything on getting on the motorcycle after you work on your brakes. So just go by the pedal and give it a few pumps. Look at, see, it was loose. Now it's tight. Because if you do not do that step, guys, and you go on the motorcycle after you do all this and go for a ride, and someone pulls out in front of you, you will not have the brakes like that because you did not pump your brakes. So always, I repeat, when removing your calipers and you're reinstalling them, always, I repeat, always pump your brakes to make sure it's back to where it's going to grip right away. All right, guys? That is like a very important step, guys. I just want to take you guys on the journey of taking on and off your wheels, and it's not a hard job. The right tools make the job a lot easier. Like I said, if you did not have a scissor jack and you're doing this with your feet, your legs, it will become a pain in the butt. And without the other jack. So invest. I think I see them on Amazon for, geez, I seen them probably 60 bucks. And this stand was 100. So always making sure that you do these steps, guys, because this could be your life or your partner's life on the motorcycle's hand. So always, please, be safe out there. Two wheels is very, very risky because one hit could kill you. It's not like in a car where one baby crash just bumps your bumper. This could literally end your life, guys. So always be safe on two wheels. Very important, guys. So let's get down to the front wheel. So let's do it, guys. Give me a second. All right, guys, we got the front wheel on. Like I said, it's super easy. Nothing hard at all. Some key points I want to put out there, guys. If you are, I do have a caliper bracket because I do have a 13-inch front rotor. When you are re-Loctiting this stuff, guys, always clean your thread with a wire brush. Get all the old Loctite off, and make sure that threads are good too. And then add new Loctite, and then retorque it. Never keep the old Loctite on it, because what happens is sometimes you get it inside the threads and you have a chance of ruining the threads. So always make sure that when you're doing that, always clean the threads and then add new Loctite. Another thing is, when you are cleaning your axles, make sure, I repeat, make sure there's no debris, leaves, debris, dust, anything on the grease when you are putting it through either. You do not want any type of trash on the grease, the new greased axle, because if you do that, it gets inside the wheel and axle, it's going to mess things up and wear things out faster. So just make sure when you're doing that, make sure you're not re-greasing your axle and then putting it on the ground. Make sure that when you re-grease it, you're putting it right in right away. And just make sure all your spacers and everything don't have no debris or anything like that either. So we're going to get back on this, get the caliper on, Loctite, everything torqued down. Remember, guys, this is a fork that does have a half like split in it. So what I would normally do is just give it just like a hand tight, so that way the axle is going to be even, and then torque this one down, and then tighten this after you got your wheel, everything lined up. That's when you torque the bottoms. But like I said, guys, anytime you're adding Loctite, always clean your threads and then add the new Loctite, guys. So stay tuned, guys. We're almost finished with this project. Stay tuned. I will show you guys the final results. All right, guys, we are finished. You can see the front wheel's on, the back wheel's on, everything's down torqued. Some of the stuff that is Loctite is Loctite. Everything is set. Wheels move. Brakes are pumped, front and rear. We are ready to rock, guys. So stay tuned, guys. We got more great videos coming. We got videos coming of the Mustang, but I just want to do a quick little video of us doing the wheels. And obviously we are adding a new part to the gas, so that way I got rid of the key. That way, if I forgot my key, I still get gas, because now I'll just have a push button. So stay tuned, guys. I hope you like this video. Please like it and subscribe. Comment below. Tell me what you guys are doing to your motorcycles over the winter time. Anything. If not, let me know what your plans are for 2025. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks again.